Okay, I just want to share something because it's a combination of innovation and grow your brand. Do something that scares you.
Yeah.
And personally and professionally, but it should be legal. Do something that scares you. And the reason I say that is I am scared to death of Twitter, so I'll just come out of the closet on that. And I was talking to Chris, Mr. Podcast over here, and I said, okay, you got to make me tweet right now. How do I help tweet? Because I'm getting these people that want to follow me, and I'm not saying anything, so I don't know who these people are. And so I'm scared of Twitter, but I'm going to do it. And Chris is going to make me do it at the end of this panel, and I'm going to get started, because once you get going, when I first had emails, I made my secretary print them all out because I didn't know what to do with them. Can you imagine if I still had a secretary printing out my emails? I'd die, like 150 a day or 200. So do something that scares you, and be willing to kind of lean in. And I hate to plug Sheryl Sandberg's book, but lean in. You really have to go for something if you want to differentiate yourself. Find a mentor, find somebody that will push you. I don't care if it's your parents, I don't care if it's your coworker, but just don't stay stagnant, don't stay still. Even to Chris's point, find a different route to work, but lean in, do something that scares you. I know at our firm, our digital group has grown so fast, and we are agency of record for Chase. For their social media, for their Facebook page. Chase was one of the first companies ever to be on Facebook, so we're highly innovative. We also handle about 30 to 40 Procter & Gamble brands, so we have about a $2 million portfolio of innovation. What's new, what's hot, whether it's some sort of mall on the internet for their different cosmetic products like Olay and CoverGirl. You have to keep innovating, so lean in, find something that's scary.
And just to add to that, you know, when we talk about goals, I pulled this out of my bag. This is a book I literally bought yesterday, and there's 9 things that successful people do differently. And one of the first things was get specific. So when you set a goal, you know, you don't have to be spot on, but it is like get specific. And it is like, oh, if you want to lose, like some people say, I need to lose weight. Like it's the difference between saying I need to lose weight and saying I'm going to lose 10 pounds. So it's getting specific with those goals and coming up with measurements along the way to say, okay, have I met with a mentor? Do I have an accountability partner? Identify somebody in this room that you can check in with, you know, every 2 weeks, and you say, oh, you said you're going to do this thing. Did you do it? You know, and those are the things that'll keep you going. Because once you get at home, and you turn the TV on, or you get back on, you know, your laptop or whatever, you know, and you're like, oh shoot, I forgot to do that thing. So.
Yeah, I actually would like to piggyback on that and say, my dad, he would always say, it's really important who you surround yourself with, right? If you are around some really great people, they'll help better you. And so that's my 2 cents on that. And I actually wanted to piggyback on the accountability partner. Talk to me about who influenced you, who's helped you, and your mentors, and how do you get those mentors? How do you create those relationships? Who wants to start?
All right, so it's me again. No, I think because I think I started off earlier. I said it's about not only the experience you have, but the experiences you have. And I think, you know, for me, mentors, I've picked up things from people along the way. Like, but I remember at one point, matter of fact, again, when I was working at Playboy, there was a guy there who was kind of our executive producer who had. He had some record number of music videos he had produced, and was written up in several magazines and so on and so forth. And I would just watch him, you know, just watch him in the room, like, you know, here he is, the creative visionary, but he would know how much power it takes to power that camera, or how much lighting it needs. He wasn't the lighting technician or the grip or anybody else, but he knew the jobs enough. Some people say you know enough to be dangerous, but not enough to be an expert. And you know, I took that, you know, and I would ask questions. So it wasn't necessarily like, hey, will you be my mentor? But, you know, and it was also a really natural gravitation, like our personalities sort of gelled. You know, I wouldn't say get a mentor that you kind of don't jive with on a personal level in some way. So I think that was one of the first people I kind of looked toward to say, all right, I can ask him questions anytime, and also had a little bit to offer, right? You know, hey, do you need help on this project? And not because I wanted a job and I needed money, but because I wanted to be there and be of service.
So if you're taking notes right now, and you all should have a paper and pencil, I'm always amazed people that don't take notes when you have valuable learning here. Write down really quickly on the paper who your 2 mentors are. And if you don't have any names down there, that should tell you something. So here's my two mentors, because I can say their names out loud, Joseph Finocchio and Candy Deemer. Joseph Finocchio was my grandfather. He was my first mentor, and here's what he did. He was he started with Bank of America, or Bank of Italy with AP Giannini before it was Bank of America. I said AP was really cheap. But anyway, the point being is when I got my first job, my grandfather had my business card and he kept it in his wallet. And every year he would say to me, Marianne, what raise did you get? So he was the only one in the family that knew how much I made, and he was my mentor because he would say, did you get a raise? Did you work hard enough this last year? What did you do? And I knew I had to check in with Papa Joe's back of his business card on my raise. My second mentor was Candy Deemer, and she was amazing. When I was working at Needham, Harper and Steers, now I think it's known as Doyle Dem Bernbach or Reuben Poster and Associates, if you know any of those names. These agencies all merged and combined. But she was my mentor because I was being taken advantage of. I was doing some really aggressive strategic planning work, like what would entertainment look like for the future for Universal, and some other major heavy projects, and my boss was taking all the credit, and I didn't know it. And Candy was my mentor because she said, Marianne, everyone thinks that your boss, Jerry, did this, but you did it, and I know you did it, and you need to stand up, and here's how I'm going to help you. And she continued to be my mentor.